Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Can you hear me? Good evening, Rahda. We have Rahda and Marina. Who is Marina?
مساء الخير يا مس هناء.
مش
ايوه مس هناء انا معاكي.
Yeah, welcome, Miss Julia.
ايوه مع حضرتك يا مس هناء.
So happy to be with us.
صوتك مش واصل قوي يا مس هناء، ممكن توضح الصوت شويه؟
Yeah, sure. I raise my voice. Okay. So happy to be with us, Miss Julia.
نعم.
So happy to be with us.
مش سامعه حاجه يا مس هناء.
Okay. I welcome you. You can press the mic icon. في علامة ميكروفون كده اضغطي عليها.
هعملها دلوقتي. عملتها لي مارينا دلوقتي.
تمام. سامعاني؟
طيب. كده الحمد لله عملتها مارينا.
اوكي تمام.
طيب.
هاي نبيلة. هاي مس نهى. Okay. Welcome back. Miss you so much. Okay. How is it going with you at school?
Fine.
It's
Fine.
a month now. We have finished the first month at school. How do you feel now?
Exhausted.
Yeah. May Allah Miss Noha.
Yeah.
Which grades do you teach?
Primary one.
Primary one.
Grade one. Yeah.
Yes. It's challenging, but I think it's enjoyable at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Raghda teaches grade one. Nabila, I think, yes, she teaches grade one.
Yes.
Yeah. Miss Julia, which grades do you teach?
Yeah.
Yes, I think most of you. Okay. Okay, Raghda.
ايوه مس هناء مع حضرتك.
Now, which grade do you teach?
نعم.
Which grades do you teach? Do you teach grade one?
Primary one.
Grade one, yes. Okay.
Primary one.
Primary one. Okay. May Allah help you all. I teach primary two. I taught primary one last year. Okay. So I'm trying just to wait for more colleagues to join. So let's start. Okay. Can you see my screen? Can you see?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So good evening and welcome back to our mentoring journey. I'm trying to unmute you, Raghda, but okay, I'll try again. Okay, so today, inshallah, because some of you asked me to have a session about teaching reading, how to teach a reading lesson in the classroom, especially in primary 3 and primary 4, of course, because we have reading. Yes. You have Miss Ilham? Okay, so today, inshallah, we will start with how to teach a reading lesson. Certain steps. We will be very specific to know what are the steps should I follow as a teacher while teaching a reading lesson. Okay. Before looking at the steps, I'd like to know what was the last lesson, reading lesson you taught. Remember what was the last reading lesson you taught? Can you remember? For me, the last text I taught about a reading lesson, it was about friendship. The title is Friends. It's in advanced level in Prep 1. It was about friendship and the what makes anyone a good friend. So we have a list of adjectives and a reading lesson about 2 friends. One of them is sitting on a wheelchair, but still, he is still sociable, outgoing, sympathetic. And this other boy friend is very proud to have a friend like that. It's in advanced level, and the title was Friends. I can remember it well. Raghda wrote in the chat box, she taught a journey to adventure in grade 5. It's advanced level, yes. Okay, Raghda. How was the lesson, Raghda? What did you feel after teaching this reading lesson? Okay, who else want to share his last reading lesson he taught? Yeah, it was exciting. So happy to hear that. So she taught grade 5 a reading lesson, and it was exciting and challenging. Yes, because reading lesson somehow challenging, but still, yeah, it can be interesting and exciting. Yes, Raghda, thank you. Okay, who can tell me what was the last lesson you taught? Reading lesson.
Reading lesson text about governorate, Dimyat governorate for grade 4.
Primary 4.
Primary 4.
Yeah, how did you feel after teaching this lesson?
Student, I divided the text. Led to one student to read one sentence.
Yeah.
To understand the text.
So you divided
about
the text while reading it.
What?
You divided the text while reading the lesson.
To all the students to participate with me.
Yes, to give them a chance to participate. Yeah.
To participate all the students, to encourage to read and to understand the text and how to answer the questions and to اللي هو explore the vocabulary أو get out the vocabulary from the text and write on the board.
So you give them a chance to work out the meaning of the words?
To work out
the meaning of the words?
What?
I can tell you give your students a chance to work out to guess the meaning of the words.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
I give him a chance to prepare the lesson at home
Perfect.
before
Yeah.
before يعني I tell them that I will learn this lesson the next day. They prepare the lesson.
Yeah.
A lot of student يعني يعني عندهم مهارة وبياخدوا من أغلبهم lessons برا بس بيساعدني على إن أنا
Yes. So Miss
إن
Ilham,
هم
you asked them to prepare the lesson at home. Did you give them any tasks?
prepare the lesson and prepare the lesson and كمان الactivity.
Yes. You give them a task.
أغلبكم عارفين منهج رابعة مليان صعب إن أنا too difficult إن تبقى أول معرفة للطالب في الكلاس يعني.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Miss Ilham, for sharing your experience with the reading lesson in grade 4. And thanks, Raghda, because I love what she wrote in the chat box. She was satisfied at the end of the lesson. So it was, yes, challenging, but she was satisfied. Okay, thank you, Raghda. Thank you, Miss Ilham, for sharing your experience. Okay. Does anyone want to share us?
Yes, can I share, Miss Hannah?
Yeah, Miss Ruqayya.
Yes, hello everyone.
Hi, Miss Ruqayya. So happy
Okay.
to be with you. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, it was about the Egyptian handball team, the junior one. It was exciting. Many students know the team, know many names of them. They also know the championship, so it was easy reading for me. They know many information about it.
Yes.
Yeah, most of them are in the text. It's really in the text. So I just highlight some words which in bold black in the text. Yes. So what does it mean? Junior, senior, one champion. What does it mean? I introduce the new vocab.
Yes.
Then I get them time to read and answer the exercises. It's second prep, so they have to read silently and answer.
Yeah.
They can do it.
Yeah, what I really like is that the lesson is relevant to your students. So they were, I think I can guess they were motivated and encouraged to participate.
Yeah, it's a good benefit of the new curriculum. I like it very much. It's really interested in their life.
Yes.
Something they know, something they really like. Muhammad Salah, football, tennis, many things they really like. They really interesting to know.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really interesting for them.
I agree with you because it's a fact that the topics are relevant and it gives us a chance to personalize the topics with our students. Yes, I totally agree with you. Okay.
Yeah, I say all of them are new information. So they know it. They live with it in the recent years.
Yes.
Maybe this years or the last years. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Ruqayya, and thank you, Ms. Ilham, and thank you, Ms. Raghda. Okay, does anyone want to share his experience with the last lesson he taught, reading lesson? Okay, so I'm so happy to hear your ideas about the reading lesson, but here I have some situations. So I'd like to read the 5 situations and decide which one is yours. It can be number 1, I enjoy helping my learners develop their reading skills. Or number 2, it's hard to find interesting text and materials. Number 3, reading tasks or reading in general, reading lesson takes too long time. Number 4, it can be difficult to motivate learners while reading. Number 5, with a range of ability levels in the same class, I have a plan for fast finishers. So which one describes your situation or your way to deal with reading lesson? I have here a message from Raghda in the chat box. She chose number 1. So she enjoys helping her learners to develop their reading skills. Great. Who else? What do you think? What is your situation related to the reading lesson, reading skill? What do you think? If you don't want to use the mic, you can type in the chat box. Just write the number.
Yeah.
Ms. Ruqayya?
Yes, I think number 5.
Number
My class
5.
this year, yes, most of them are clever students.
Yes. Yeah.
So I have to do, yes, yeah, I have to do extra activities for faster finisher. I say something as write some note, you summarize the text in
Yes.
your notebook.
Yeah.
Yes, give me the main ideas of it, write them on board or write them on your notebook.
Perfect. Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really important to plan for the fast finishers in order not to get bored and keep them on the track with you while teaching the reading task. Yes. Or the reading lesson. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Ruqayya. Who else?
We teach for grade 1, so
Yeah. What do you think?
we didn't share more because we teach for primary 1.
Yeah. So can you choose one of them or none of them describe?
Yeah, 3.
Number 3, reading text.
Yeah,
long
reading
time.
takes too long time. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I
Reading text too long time. Yeah.
I was teaching for preparatory 2 since and for 5 years. So it was reading was taking too long time.
Yes. So can you tell us why reading takes too long time in primary 1?
Not in primary 1. I was talking about my teaching for preparatory 2.
Yes. So
it was from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Yeah. Can you tell us why they take a lot of time or long time?
The student was weak.
Yeah.
So it takes a long time to read the sentence, not incorrectly way. I was do my best to make him produce the sentence in correct way.
Yes.
So excuse me, can I ask you some question? I just want to discuss with you. Reading here, do you mean reading loudly or just read to answer questions?
Yeah, Ms. Ruqayya.
Two.
Yeah,
both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
Because
the student didn't encourage me for reading, so they took a long time to read loudly or in a silent way.
Yeah.
عايزين فلوس؟
reading, yes.
متأكد؟ طيب خلوا بالكم من نفسكم ونبقى هاديين مع بعضينا ونستحمل.
Okay. So anyone else want to share us his situation with reading lessons? One of the 5 situations here. Ms. Ruqayya choose number 5, Ms. Raghda choose number 1, and Ms. Noha choose number 3. What do you think? Does anyone want to share? Does anyone want to share? Which one here from 1 up to 5 describe you? Okay, so thanks Ms. Raghda, Ms. Noha, and Ms. Ruqayya for sharing this part. So let's start. As I said in the very beginning, our session today is very specific. It's all about how to teach reading lesson. So the steps of teaching a reading lesson. But before that, I'd like to ask you, what is reading? What is reading? What do you think? If you don't want to speak, you can type in the chat box. Yes, Raghda, it's a skill. Yes, it's one of the main skills in English language. Yeah, that's right. What do you think about reading? What is reading? Yes, Mr.
I think it's the most interesting hobby. Knowing new things, knowing information, open your mind for all of the world.
Yes.
Yeah, it's many things, many imaginations, many lives you can spend. Yes.
Yeah, of course. It involves imagination. Yes. Yes. Here I just mentioned some, as you said, Raghda, it's one of the main skills in English. Here I wrote, it's figuring out the words, knowing the letters, breaking down words, and figuring out words, what they mean in a context or in a text. And of course, it's a way to learn. Okay, and Alia wrote, it's our window to the world, of course. And Raghda said, it has many other sub-skills. Yes, of course, Raghda, that's right. Okay, so thanks a lot for your ideas. Let's start and at once the steps how to teach a reading lesson. Yes, Miss Ilham, I think you raised your hand. Miss Ilham?
Sorry, Miss Hannah. I try to write. فمش عارفة يعني. بحاول أشوف.
In the chat box, you can press on more. On the right, we have more. Press on more, you will find the chat box. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So how to teach a reading lesson? Here we have specific steps. Warm-up activity, pre-reading activity. This is part 1. And pre-reading part 2. We have first reading, second reading, and post-reading. So these are the steps that we will talk about today while teaching a reading lesson. Warm-up activity, pre-reading, we have 2 parts. First reading, we have just questions, and second reading, we have intensive questions. And the last part is, or the last stage in the lesson is post-reading. So let's start with the warmer. Number 1, what do you think about the warmer here? Can you guess when I have a reading lesson, how can I put a warm-up activity here? What do you think about the warm-up activity in the reading lesson?
Yeah, if I have a picture, I can ask them to look at the picture and guess what is the topic about.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
for my reading lesson, the Egyptian handball team, I have a photo for the team with their cup. When they won the championship, they have a group photo, a photo for all the team.
Yes.
That is so. What is this? Oh, they answer. This is a handball.
Yeah.
Yes, but of course they answer in Arabic first.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, we will talk about, or we will read about the Egyptian handball team.
Yeah.
What do you know about it? Yes, we discuss the picture to
Yes.
elicit some information or some idea related to the passage.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Noha. So Miss Noha said it's a kind of elicitation activity. Ruqayya, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, Miss Ruqayya. So it's a kind of elicitation. So she can use a photo or any clue in the text to just elicit the topic or the main idea of the text or reading text. Okay. Alia, yes, Alia. Okay, let's read your messages here. Raghda said, I can make it related to the text, the warm-up to be related to the text. Yes. Alia, about the object of the text, maybe. Yes, you mean the topic, Alia. Yeah, that's right. Okay, and Nabila. Yeah, I can write some questions related to the text. Yes. Refresh their mind to think. Yes. Refresh their mind to think, you mean to refresh their background knowledge. I can guess, Alia. And Raghda, it's a story. If it is a story, I can ask them about a character in the story, which one is favorite to them. Yes. Or it looks like a brainstorming activity. Yeah. Yes, I really like all your ideas about the warm-up activity. As Ms. Ruqayya said, she has a reading lesson about the volleyball team. Okay, what do you think if I have a warm-up like a question, communicative task? I mean the speaking activity, like what's your favorite sport? How often do you do sport? Where do you do sport? So here, the warm-up activity, it's a communicative task or activity that sets the theme of the lesson, the main idea or the main topic of the lesson. And as you said, I can use the visual, which is the main point here, to discuss with the students what is related to the topic of the reading lesson. So before they read, I have a warm-up activity. During this warm-up activity, I have to ask a question or a communicative task, which set the theme of the lesson or the theme of the text, the main topic of the lesson. As you said, Ms. Ruqayya and Alia, Raghda, Nabila, the same meaning. So here I can use a picture or I can ask a question about the text, but it can be more general, okay? So if it is a reading lesson about the volleyball team, as you said, Ms. Ruqayya, I can ask, what's your favorite sport? Okay, where can you do sports? Okay, what's your favorite sport and why? How often do you do it? Okay, so here the students feel that we will talk about something related to sports. So here I'm trying to get closer to the theme or the main topic of the lesson or the reading lesson. Okay, this is the first stage. Let's move to the second stage, which is pre-reading activities. Okay, and here we will talk about three things. What are pre-reading activities? Why they are important? And some examples of pre-reading activity. Okay, I'd like your ideas here. So what are the pre-reading activities? When I say I have to do a pre-reading activity with my students, so what are they?
I think it means preparing student for reading.
Yes.
For our purpose of reading, yes.
Okay, so I prepare my students to read the text through the pre-reading activity. What else? What do you think? What are the pre-reading activity? Okay, so let's see here. Pre-reading activity is all the activities that I do as a teacher with my students to prepare them, as you said, Ms. Ruqayya, to the reading text and to increase their ability to understand the lesson. Okay, so all the things that I do before students start reading the text or the lesson. Why? To increase their ability to understand the text. They are really helpful for students, and it's really great for the teacher to do such activities before reading the text, because here I'm helping my students to understand the lesson. Okay, so why they are important? Of course, the pre-reading activities are important because they help students anticipate, predict what is the topic of the reading lesson. And number two, they become familiar with the vocabulary. And number three, I motivate my student to learn more, because pre-reading activity is supposed to be attractive for them, to get them engaged and motivated to, yes, that's right, Raghda, to get them familiar with the text. Yes, exactly. This is what I want to do while doing pre-reading activities. I want them to be familiar with the topic or the vocabulary in the reading text, and I want them to be more motivated to read about the topic. And number three, I'd like to help them to predict, anticipate what's the topic while doing the pre-reading activity. And here, in fact, I have two kinds of pre-reading activities. Number one, it's all about activate, as you said, Alia, activate their prior knowledge or their background knowledge, okay? And help them to predict. So how should I do that? It makes the text simple and easy. Yes, Nabila, that's right. And facilitate the reading task. Yes, exactly. This is the main benefit of the pre-reading activity. And the main aim to make the text simple and easy, as you said, Nabila, and to facilitate the reading task. Yes, exactly. Yes. Okay. So the pre-reading part one, it's all about activate their prior knowledge. Okay. And to help them predict, anticipate what they are going to read about, okay? So here, I take few minutes to set up the context of the reading text. This can be done through short task or question and answer. And here it's supposed to be open questions, not closed questions, okay? So it's supposed to not to ask yes, no question, okay? So instead of saying, do you love sports or do you do sports? Is volleyball is your favorite sport? No, I can ask an open question like, what's your favorite sport? Okay, okay. And here, for example, I ask a student to predict what will be in the text using a picture, an image, a title, okay? So I can tell my students the title of the reading lesson, and here I give them a chance to predict what they are going to read about, okay? If there is an image or a picture or drawing, so I point to this picture and ask them what they are going to read about and try to guess. So here, I activate their background knowledge by asking them open questions or pointing to or telling them or paying their attention to the title or the image related to the text or the reading text, and ask them questions. So here they try to predict what they are going to read or what the topic is of the reading lesson, okay? So this is part one. Let's move to part two. It's all about vocabulary, the new vocabulary or the key vocabulary, the vocabulary that helps students to understand the reading text. So it's not logic to ask my students to read the lesson without teaching them the key vocab, especially if I'm sure that my students cannot guess the meaning through the context, okay? Because sometimes we skip some words to give them a chance to guess the meaning of the words through the context. But it's better to teach them the keywords, the words that help them to understand the reading text, okay? And this will help them to engage or participate in the tasks after that, okay? So part two in the pre-reading tasks or activities, it's all about teaching key vocabulary or relevant vocabulary, the vocabulary that help them understand the text and be engaged in the tasks. Yes, that's right. Especially the youngest one. Yes, Alia, that's right. So it's very important. Before asking my students to read, I be sure that my students know the meaning of the keywords, especially the words in the task. So I have no words in the questions about the reading text. So it's very important to teach such words because they will use these words while answering the questions or doing the task, okay? So here we have two kinds of pre-reading activity. The first one, just to activate their background knowledge and help them to anticipate the topic or predict what they are reading about. And the part number two, it's all about teaching vocabulary. It's very important to teach the key vocabulary before reading. So this is all for pre-reading activities. Any questions so far? If you have any questions about pre-reading activities. Okay, now I'll show you some suggestions. Okay, I think we have a question here. Yes, okay, thank you, Alia. So here we have some examples of pre-reading activities. Okay, number one, I can ask my students, what do you know about? Okay, what do you know about? It's an open questions. So you will get many answers from many teachers, many students, different answers. Okay, so it's an open one. Number two, ask open-ended questions. You can ask what, where, when, how, why. Okay, so try not to ask yes, no questions. Okay, because it's not communicative. Okay, it's better to ask open-ended, not closed-ended. Okay. Okay, this is number two. Number three, you can ask think, pair, and share. Think, pair, and share. You can ask a question and ask your students to think about the answer of this question. After that, they share the question with their partner, okay, his friend in the desk. And after that, they will share the answer within the group or the whole class. Again, you will ask them a question. The students think about this question individually. After that, share the answer with his partner or his friend. Then they share the answer within a group or with the whole class. Okay? Stand where you stand.
Excuse me, Miss Hannah.
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Muqayyad.
Can we have an example, activity example about think, pair, share?
Yeah, sure.
How to do it exactly, not just the steps. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So an example, let's use your lesson, reading lesson. It's about the volleyball team. Okay, Ms. Ruqayya? So you will ask, what's your favorite sport? Think about this favorite sport, okay? So he will think that my favorite sport is volleyball, football, tennis, okay? Swimming, okay? After that, he will tell his partner about his favorite sport. So I'll tell my partner, Raghda, for example, my favorite sport is swimming. What about you? Raghda will tell me my favorite sport is football, for example, okay? And after that, we will tell our answer to our group. We will share the answer within our group or with all the teacher. So now, after sharing the answer with your partner, you will share the answer with me. Who can tell me what's your favorite sport? Okay? Or how often do you go to the club to play, to do sports? So each one will think, I go every Friday, I go twice a week, I go 3 times a week, okay? Or I don't go to the club, okay? So he will tell his partner first. After that, you will tell your group. After that, I share your answer with the whole class. So this is think, pair, and share. Hope is it clear, Ms. Ruqayya?